So next question. I personally have more than 90% allocation in Tesla. So I want to find out from you that what is your opinion? Am I too concentrated in Tesla? Is it dangerous to use sniper theory?
Since you asked me the meaning of life, right? So I think just want to take this opportunity to ask you, what do you think of what do you think of this meaning of life?
Hey guys, today I have Boon Tee with me here. Can you give me a brief introduction about yourself for the viewers?
Okay, I'm just a retail investor. So I actually met Sin Hai in, I think, the Telegram group also. And then I commented on his video and just asked him like, should we do a collab? And he said okay. And now we are doing this.
Okay, Boon Tee, what is your take on Tesla?
Okay, just for background, I do have Tesla positions, but not a big one. I believe it is around, let's say, 6 or 7% of my portfolio allocation now. Actually, for Tesla, right, this is a company that I discussed with my friends, like even before all these YouTube videos that so many people talking about it. So it was, if I remember correctly, it was around 2017, 2018. That was the period that they are not doing that well. And then when I have discussion with my friend who is very bullish on Tesla, I'm actually standing on the bearish side and tell him all the risky things that could be with investing with Tesla. For example, like, okay, this company is not profit making, and then they have a lot of execution risk, and then this company can go bankrupt. These are the stuff that actually I shared with my friend. That was like 2017, 2018, and that time is really a tough period for Tesla. And then I think around 2010, that was the first time that I invested with this company. At first, also not very bullish, especially given that they are not profitable at that time. And then if you look at all this PE, there's even no PE to talk about, right? So when I started investing, I put like 3 shares pre-split. So that was at $500. And then it ran up very fast to 1,100, and then I bought another 2 shares. That's where I get my 5 shares pre-split. So after split is 25 shares. I sold it when it shot up to, I think, 300, close to 400, let's say $370. I panic sell. So right, people panic sell not because of stock price drop, right? Sometimes the price shot up too fast, right? Also panic sell. So I'm that donkey lah, okay? So after that, I think the fundamentals of the company actually improved a lot. So from, I would say, 2020 until 2021, we can see that Shanghai factory is doing very well, and their delivery numbers also very impressive, right? Even the latest earning release, I look at their numbers, it's really, really impressive. So the type of scenario that I say, okay, if I give myself project a bull case for Tesla, right? Okay, this is where it is, right? Actually, they keep on exceed my expectations. So I really need to give credit to them. And as of now, I still plan to invest into this company, increase my allocations. But just that the macroeconomics, I would say that other companies, relatively speaking, they are not doing as well as Tesla. But their share price also cheaper, right? So to me, it's a question about allocations rather than just looking at single companies.
So Boon Tee, is there any company you find more appealing to invest in other than Tesla? Like more appealing than Tesla?
Yeah, actually this one, like I mentioned just now, right? If we look at their recent quarterly earnings, their execution in the past 6 months or 12 months, right? I do really see that Tesla is a very compelling company's investment to talk about, because it seems that everything just turned out right for them, at least for now, and it could be for the next 6 months or 12 months also. Even Shanghai have all this problem, right? And then Shanghai lockdown and so on. I'm actually expecting them to have some problem on the manufacturing, but it turned out that things are going well for Tesla. So I think if I were to look at the companies and giving more weights into the short-term kind of outlook, right, I would say that Tesla is still it's still the company that I would invest in. For other companies, I will share with you my top holdings. So I have companies like Apple, Microsoft. I have companies like Amazon, and then TSMC. Actually, the companies that I talk a lot more is TSMC, because like Apple, right? These are the largest company in the world. Everyone knows it. But for companies like TSMC, I would say there are actually not many people talk about this company. And if I look at their recent quarterly earnings, right, I would think that they are executing very well. and their price actually came down, which makes it a good investment, right? But we also need to bear in mind that semiconductor industry, this is an industry where when they are doing well, they can do very well, and then when they are going into this down cycle, right? So sometimes the price that they can charge can drop, and then the demand can drop, and then oversupply can happen, and that's why it become a very volatile kind of companies to invest. But with that said, I would say TSMC relative to other semicon companies, right, they are still the stable one because they are selling mostly logic processor and not the memory. The memory semiconductors is even more volatile and more cyclical. So if you ask me, yeah, Tesla and let's say TSMC, yeah.
So Boon Tee, what's your take on options, and can you briefly explain on how you use options to improve your ROI?
Yeah. Actually, the first interview that I have with Kelvin Learn Investing, he also asked me questions on options. But I find it weird because actually for me, right, I have my YouTube channel. I actually share about long-term investing. I'm advocating for people to do long-term investing and try not to trade in and out so much, because I think that it's easier to predict the long-term path of a company's than short-term movement. So back to your question on options, right? I have some options trades, but to me, within my entire portfolio, right, it's just a small part, right? I try to minimize my exposure to options. So my thinking process with regards to option is that I can do a little bit here. I can try to generate some small premiums. I could just earn, let's say, $50, $100 every, let's say, week, right? But I need to make sure that I don't lose money in options, because to me this is something extra. It is the long-term portfolio that will compound a lot in the future, and it's easier to predict, like I said. So we just need to put the money with companies that is doing well, right? Then we just need time, let's say 5 years, 10 years, it will show result, right? But for options, it's more risky, and I think we will tend to use margin for options, right? So it's good if they can add a little bit of return to our portfolio, but just bear in mind with the risk, and especially now the market is kind of shaky, right? So I would say be careful if you are doing options.
So that you say that the macro environment is hostile, even more hostile than 2021. So what is your option strategy? Do you have one? Like, what's your take on if you want to do options now? The strategy behind.
Okay, to be more specific, right, my strategy on options is I'm selling options. For example, I might be selling put options just to generate some premiums, right? Take some money. But I will try to do it at a strike price that is very low. So just to make sure that I don't get a sign. Even if the share price actually drop, right, I might actually just throw it out to the next week and then lower the strike with the expectation that if it get a sign, right, at least it get a sign at a price that is much lower than today's price.
In this kind of macro environment, how much margin are you using? Is it less than 5%, 8%, or less than 15%?
On margin, right, actually I'm very low. I would say less than 5%. That's my margins. I think margin as something that is for convenience. For example, if I don't have margin, right, it's a cash account, right? I put in money now, I might need to wait, let's say half a day or even sometimes 1 day for me to get access to that cash to buy, right? But once I enable the margin, I can just straight away buy. Even let's say I know that I will put in money next week, right? If I see the share price just drop significantly and I want to take advantage, I can just buy, right? So I'm borrowing for that short period of time. So it's just a convenience, right? It's very different from those who really use margin to achieve the leverage effect. They might want 1.2x, 1.3x, right? So it's very different. So I would say my portfolio is still very, very low or very little margin.
So you always have cash to back up your margin ones. It's like in case of anything, you always always have available cash. So to top it up, okay, and it's very safe type of margin usage.
I need to clarify on this. My margin is very small in my portfolio, but actually outside I don't have cash on. I don't keep cash on. To me, cash, right? If you keep, yeah, cash is trash. But actually, for cash, right? The reason people keep cash is to say, okay, I want to have some buffer just in case if the stock price drop, then I can go in big, right? And you want to take advantage of the scenario, right? But I would say that it's very hard to time the bottom. Usually it's like you either end up within two scenarios, right? Either you keep the cash and then it drop, you just buy, and then it drop further because we can't time the bottom, right? Or it dropped already, you think that it will drop further, and then you just keep the cash for like, just wait for a while, and then suddenly you just rebound, and you basically you hold the cash for permanent basis, right? And then that will create a drag to your returns, right? To me, it's just like, I think it's very hard to time the bottom, hence I don't time it. So if I have money, I rather put into put into the brokerage and just DCA. Yeah, with that, I would say sometimes if the price is too high, and then because I still have that let's say 2 or 3% leverage, right? Then sometimes I'm just thinking that why not just pay off or reduce the margin so that I have more buffer to act if the price came back down, right? So I will always operate at a small like margins. So that's my approach. I wouldn't say this approach is the best. I just think that this kind of approach works for me. Yeah.
Okay, thanks for the answer. So next question. I personally have more than 90% allocation in Tesla. So I want to find out from you that what is your opinion? Am I too concentrated in Tesla? Is it dangerous to use sniper theory?
I think this one really depends on individuals, right? Based on our conversation this morning, actually I can see that you are doing all this very deep dive analysis into the companies, right? So I think sniper theory is okay. It really depends if you really did your homework and you have high conviction that the companies will go up, right? So I don't see that as a problem. So when people ask me these somewhat related questions, right, I always give this this analogy, right? So I'm giving you like two scenarios, right? So you are asking yourself whether you should like just sniper into Tesla. So I'll ask you, if you now sell, let's say 50% of your Tesla, and the price just go up 2x, so this is scenario 1. And scenario 2 is that you just continue with, let's say, close to 100% into Tesla, and you suddenly have money, you just keep on put into Tesla, and then the price just drop 50%. So both are painful, right? First one, you just liquidated and see the price just go to the moon, and second one, you actually lose money. Which one is more painful for you?
Not owning Tesla shares is painful for me.
Yeah. So exactly, that's the answer that I expect, right? Because you have done your homework, you have the conviction, right? Looking at the price shoot out and you don't have enough exposure, that's the more painful outcome, right? So for you, I would say that just stay sniper theory, just stay concentrated, because you believe that your analysis is the right one, and we just have need time to wait out and see the results, right? But you just need to be aware that, let's say after all this analysis that you have done, if you are wrong, right, then you will suffer a big losses, which is fine, right? Because we all make this decision, we just need to be accountable for ourselves.
Just to add on to his point, I think conviction is quite important. You are not right or wrong if 1,000% agree with you.
Yeah.
You are not wrong either if 1,000% disagree with you.
Yeah.
You are right because your facts and reasonings are right.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so the next question. The pandemic have caused isolation, and it makes us think about many of us think about the meaning of existence. So what do you think gives meaning in your own life?
Wow, these meaning of life questions, I would think this is not easy questions. But let's take a step back, right? Because I've been thinking this also, since COVID, right? I've been, like working from home for most of the time. So it's kind of, I would say, quite convenient and comfortable lifestyle. We just sit at home, and then we can even wake up not so early, right? And then we can still, follow our pace, do our work, right? So I would consider myself as the lucky one because I managed still able to work from home, right? Not everyone has that luxury. Some people, like working in the restaurant, they can't really do that, right? They have to go out, and then they have to, especially in 2020, we still don't know, like, if you are affected by COVID, how severe it is, right? They are putting their health at risk when working outside. So I'm definitely considered the lucky one. And then we just need to, like, sitting and then continue to receive paycheck, and then life is good, right? So I think that's the thinking that I had now. So come back to the meaning, right? I would say that, when we have this, let's say if you are working, could be like a steady paycheck, or you as an entrepreneur, you also have some income, right? So I would say that most people, they are actually not doing that bad in the sense of financially we are all okay, but we are not okay to the extent that we can just fire and no need to work and have millions and millions in the bank accounts, right? Not to that extent. So in terms of life, when life is comfortable and then you just live your life, sometimes it become like boring, right? And then we are humans. To us, all this is not sufficient. It's not like we just want to feed ourselves and that's our life, right? It's not the case, right? I think that's also why I created the the YouTube channel and then do my sharing and then have a Telegram group to exchange with people. So I think this is all about the social part. I think we are all human. Social is very important. And then to me, the meaning of life is more like, okay, it's about like connecting with people and then making sure that I'm able to contribute to the society and so on. Because, I'm really into all this investing and then I believe in compounding. So with compounding, right? With compounding, it just works like magic, As long as you have an income, it doesn't need to be very high, and as long as you are able to keep your expense low, right, and you are able to save that money, right, it doesn't need to be a huge amount every month. You're just consistently doing that, and then in terms of the monthly or the lifestyle, it's not a luxury lifestyle, right? It's just a very normal lifestyle. So if you are able to save that money and invest, right, it just compound, and you have to do this over like 5, 10 years, 20 years, right? And then financially we are all fine, right? And then the question is, how do we actually give back to the society given that we have enough for ourselves? I'm not the kind of person that I want more, right? I want a better lifestyle. Just for example, I don't have a car in Singapore, right? So to me, travel by bus, MRT, all this, to me is very convenient. So I don't have complaint with that, right? Even if my wealth just increased by 5x from now, right? I think in terms of lifestyle, it's still the same. So that's why I will consider myself as I'm doing okay, comfortable. So now is the stage that looking for other things that make my life more meaningful, more fulfillment. That's where I try to connect with more people and then do all this sharing, create contents and just to network with people. I find a lot of fulfillment, a lot of joy doing all this stuff. So not so much about like, okay, I don't want to do YouTube and just earn money. To me, not important on that. Yeah.
What else to ask?
Close the screen. We just talk.
I still must have juicy question to ask you. Do you think we have a moral obligation to give back to society if we achieve a certain level of comfortness?
Yeah, I think very good question. I can share, right? Not just we talk about giving back, right? I think many people, they are giving back to the society using donations, right? So that there's any cause that they believe in, they will just donate, right? For me, usually I refuse to do this kind of donation. I don't do, because I don't feel there's this internal kind of drive to say I have to use my money to actually donate and then just give back to the society that way. To me, there's different ways of giving back. Even just a sharing session. I think there are people who are watching all these videos that you and I created, and then they benefited, right? Maybe not so much on knowledge, like we are. At least I myself, I don't see myself as super knowledgeable and can give you a lot of insights, right? But at least doing all this sharing give people some perspective, and then there are some people that can benefit out of it, right? So to me, that's more important than donate it on a monetary kind of giving back. So I don't feel shameful to say no to donations, because I think there are just many different ways to do it. Don't have to fixate it to the easiest way, which is like people knocking on your door asking for donation, then you just give. To me, I don't feel the joy of doing that. But let's say if there's any things that I feel joy of doing, right, just to give back, right, I'll just do using my time. Even money is fine. It's just that not the kind of like just give money and get people away. Yeah.
Give money. What do you think of like capitalism? Do you think can you share some like benefits or like some downsides of what capitalism will create for society?
Wow, this one getting tougher already. I think capitalism, right? This is just one way of allocating the capital. So when we talk about capitalism, we are talking about like companies, right? So each individual companies, they just produce their service, they produce their products, and then they are trying to add values to the customers, right? And then whichever companies that is doing well, okay, let's say their share price can go up, they can get even cheaper funding, they can grow, and then all in all, I think, I believe most watching this video come from like Western kind of capitalism, right? They will understand the capitalism that way, right? I think it's a good way to actually enhance or improve the livings. So if we don't have all this capitalism, right, and we don't have corporates and every one of us just do things individually, right, there's no scale at all. Yeah, there's no scale at all, and then everything you just have to do it yourself, and you have to reinvent the wheel again, right? There's just no much productivity and not much scale, right? So I'm on the camp that believing that all these capitalism companies become bigger and bigger. I think this one is a scale, and I do see that this scale, right, is the way to actually create value. So let me come back to the companies that I mentioned just now, like TSMC, right? I think until now there's no one interview me ask me like why do I invest in TSMC. Let me share a bit more. So this semiconductor industry, right? They are industry that is very high capex industry because the equipment that they have to spend in, right, is very expensive. And it's not just that they are very expensive now, the capex, right, actually from year to year, right, it increase exponentially. Why? Because it's getting harder and harder when you move from, let's say, like 7 nanometer to 5 to 4 to 3. It's getting very, very hard. And the machinery, right, you can just look at some video on ASML, look at that EV machines, right? It's getting bigger and bigger and much bigger, and it's very, very hard to do that kind of high capex kind of equipment. So what happens is that once the companies, right, say TSMC or Samsung, right, they spend money on all this equipment, the equipment is so expensive also because they can do more. It's more efficient. They can generate more chips, let's say, per hours, right? So they can charge a higher fee, higher cost for that equipment. But what these companies spend on, once they spend this huge amount of money, they have to make sure that all these machines, right, they run continuously. So I guess for those outside of semiconductor, you don't know, all these semicon companies, right, they are operating at 24 hours. They can't close, basically. If they just close for, like, let's say 8 hours per day, right, it just make all these costs so much higher, right, because they are not operating at a optimal level, right? So why looking at companies like TSMC, I think they are, in terms of market cap, probably 400 billion. Not a small companies, like how many companies in Singapore can get to 400 billion market caps, right? So, but I do see that even at 400 billions, they could still go up to 1 trillion, 2 trillion, in decades ahead, right? They will still grow. This is all about capitalism and also the scale, right? Because once they get to that size, other companies cannot follow anymore because the barrier, the capex, right? The barrier is just too high for them to enter, right? So there will be less and less companies that able to produce chip at, let's say, 3 nanometers, right? It could be, let's say, just TSMC, Samsung, maybe Intel, and SMIC is just like many years before, right? So you see, this is, if you let the capitalism just run it things, right, just run its course, right, you will see more and more huge corporate like this. But it's fine because companies like this require a lot of R&D. They really need the scale. And this is just capitalism at work. So I don't see anything wrong with that. I see that this is a way to create value. It's just that no doubt that some companies, after they achieve all this scale, right, they become more and more powerful, and then the society will become different if you just compare 10 years back. I think, and anyway, society won't stay at the same stage for long, right? Yeah, long answer.
So for me, I'm quite bullish on the chips also, because in the future, let's say you are automation world, you will have to design AI chips, all these deep learning chips. Okay, then let's talk about capitalism and give you a scenario, like for a young person like me. How I see the world now is that capitalism, like what you say, things become bigger and bigger, the barrier entry get higher and higher, and then they become more and more paperwork to get things done. Like there were a lot of like restriction, regulation put in place for the old companies that there is very hard for new players like us to come in. So I end up having to like it becomes the new generation will have to become even more innovative and learn the right things and the right skill set to start a company where there is lesser regulation or like there is a free ocean, you know. And then this free ocean is like people that have access to education or at least have some form of independent thinking, they can use first principles approach to start their own blue ocean. But it's like I would just find it harder and harder for newer players to come in unless they are very, very, very innovative, and being very, very innovative can come from a few factors like I just said before. So like access to education, access to the right form of thinking framework, maybe like the right form of education. Yeah. So I don't see the current education system doing the right things, yeah, I would say. Do you have any input on this? Yeah.
I don't think that this is whatever that we have been discussing, right? I don't think it's something that will turn out to be like, okay, everything just all these companies take over and then there's no more creativity, no more innovations coming from individuals. I don't think that's the case. So I just give some examples, right? You know, let's say if we talk about YouTube, okay? YouTube is very strong in the video space, right? Actually, I don't think there's alternative at all, almost no alternative, right? So if you talk about like companies like Google, they have YouTube, very hard to disrupt them already. They are there already because of the network effect, because of the, you know, all the R&D that they have been doing, right? They just make the platform better and better. So it's very hard for another companies just to come into the space and disrupt YouTube. But doesn't mean that all individuals cannot do anything, right? Because actually once they set up this platform, right, and I see that this platform will have more functionality in the years ahead, right? And all these different players on the platform, it could be individuals like you and me, small individuals. We just have one camera, phone, and then we can just shoot our video, create our contents. It could be companies like, you know, slightly bigger studio, let's say like 10-20% kind of manpower. They can do much nicer lighting. They can do all sorts of things, right? But they will just still continue to use the YouTube as the platform to actually distribute their content. So I think there are still a lot of creativity, a lot of things that they can play around on top of this platform. But the platform itself is very hard to disrupt already. So, you know, companies with this type of platform, right? Say for example like Amazon, their e-commerce, they have already spent so much money into like their logistic. It's very hard to disrupt Amazon at that space. Even their AWS, right, all this cloud business, right, they already set up the server. This is still come back to a scale game, right? Like you cannot fight them because they are already there. They have the economy of scale. Yes, maybe there are some competition coming from Azure and Google's. I'm not denying that. It's just that these three companies, they are almost like monopoly already. But other companies, right, smaller companies, they can still build on top of that, right? So these are just providing infrastructure. Actually, infrastructure is not the companies that earn the highest ROE. I think it's the company that build on top of all this infrastructure that they will do a lot more creative stuff, more like all this value adding kind of services. So I think the world will still be different. The world will still be improving thanks to all this creativity that come from all sort of places.
Just add to your input. I also think that life we evolve from simplicity to complexity, and this will happen over and over. Like let's say these platforms are built, and then more complexity will sprout out of that. So there will be more opportunities. So I agree with some part, and the part I worry about is that capitalism is, in a sense, that will block a lot of like capitalism have some kind of flaw, which is what we discussed just now. Like once the system is built, it's very hard to disrupt, and if the company itself is no longer innovative and very bureaucratic, it slows down the progress of things. Like they end up doing harmful stuff, like they lobby and everything. Like you can see it from the legacy automaker point of view. Yeah, they lobby, and then they could have started the EV revolution much earlier, but they didn't. So I think that's some fundamental flaw of capitalism that I see. Yeah, and then another flaw I probably see is the huge inequality. But of course I'm saying I still think capitalism is the best system, but that with a system can still have its flaws, and we just like want to discuss. So if you do you have any more input? If not, yeah.
Okay. I don't have any more input, but just now, since you asked me the meaning of life, right? So I think just want to take this opportunity to ask you, what do you think of yeah, what do you think of this meaning of life? Don't want to know how to ask them, no one to answer.
First of all, I'm still very young. First of all, I'm still very young, still finding the meaning of existence. But I concluded there's actually no meaning, to be honest. Like I go around asking to just see if I'm wrong about this. But I don't think that being a conscientious being must mean that you have a meaning, you know. Like I ask myself like logical questions. What are our existence for? Our real existence is just to carry our genetic information for the next generation, and that's why we are bioengineered to procreate. You know, we have urges and everything. But collectively, that is our meaning, our goal in life. But I don't think we have any individual meaning to what is all this. But you can actually, so how I look at things is, if you want to live and breathe meaning, probably do things that you feel compelled to do, you know, like what are you good at and what are you passionate at, and this thing can change from time to time. Passion can change from time to time, and I think if so long as you do things that you feel compelled to do, you will live a life that minimizes regret, and that will give you a more meaningful life than otherwise.
Yeah, I think that's a good answer. Yeah, I think sometimes, you know, we will ask these questions ourselves, right? And then if there's answer, then there's answer. If there's no, we will just keep searching, right? Yeah. Life continue.
Okay, with that, thank you, Boon Tee, so much for coming to this interview. If you like this video, I'll give you a thumbs up, subscribe to his channel and subscribe to my channel. I will see you next week.
Okay, thanks.